Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts commentary, where today, well, we're going to be taking a bit of a side detour before getting to the main shit, and yes, I do mean that for our next world, because, yeah, we're not exactly in for a gore one. But in the meantime, now that we collected our Green Trinity from, Agrabah, yes, now we can play a game of Hop Along and just reach down and access the accessory shop. Why we couldn't access it through the front doors, busting them open or whatever, I have no idea, but again, the accessory shop is something that you're going to be wanting to invest into, at least if you want to get the game's, well, reputed most powerful weapon. This, of course, being the Final Fantasy tradition of the Ultima weapon. And again, this is also where you can get some of the more powerful weapons for Donald and Goofy. I believe it's, God Save the King and God Save the Queen, because apparently we're British as fuck. But yeah, they're basically pretty much telling you, I think this is also a place where you can get the next postcard as well. But again, basically, with all those little shards, gems, and whatever the fuck else we've been collecting all throughout the game, yeah, well, we can synthesize items to help us on our way. We can get cottages, we can get little bits of apparels like, you know, bangles, chains, and amulets and all that sort of stuff. And again, they basically provide little status buffs, again, similar to the stuffs that you... similar to the items that you'd pretty much be buying in the shop. Again, you can pretty much manufacture them here, and the more items you fulfill out and complete, the more you come closer to unlocking the Ultima weapon, which will require a very specific set of materials that you'll need to scamper and save throughout the rest of the game. This is pretty much the first and last time I have ever done this sort of thing in Kingdom Hearts, and quite frankly, yeah, this is exactly what I meant when I said a more complete run of Kingdom Hearts than I've ever done before. Again, as you'd imagine, with gathering materials all throughout the game, this requires, well, basically pressing your luck with a drop rate, which, again, I think unless, of course, you're playing on a beginner mode, which I think increases the drop rate of some rare items, yeah, you're pretty much just resorting to, well, going after specific enemy types and pretty much just going after them, so you can get the correct amount of materials and then ultimately fulfill the processes of getting a bunch of other stuff. This is actually made a bit more of a pain in the ass in the final mix version, because in the original Kingdom Hearts, you only had a few specific items that you needed to get, and again, while drop rates were alarmingly low, you could pretty much find everything that you needed to, but Final Mix adds a few extra steps, and this is something that's going to be coming right before we take on the final boss, actually, so yeah, basically a lot of additional things they add. And again, I will be showing their locations and what materials that you need to get from these specific enemies, but yeah. Oh boy. It's, again, like, I mean, overall, like, I'm not really too fussed about that sort of thing, and honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I was doing a commentary on the game, I probably wouldn't have really bothered, but again, at the same time, like, I mean, I wanted to make sure that I could complete this game with as complete a run as I possibly could, and, well, that's that, really. Again, I did say that the Ultima weapon is reputedly one of the most powerful weapons of the game, but I kinda have to call that into question, really, because if you're going for overall... like, I mean, in terms of overall stats, it's pretty well balanced among, you know, attack power, magic, defense, and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know, my fancy comes towards other weapons, and again, that might just be preference talking for other weapons we get towards the late game, but I don't know. I think other weapons are a bit more impressive than the Ultimate weapon, but I will say that in terms of anything else, though, it is worth going out of your way to get some of the, you know, most powerful weapons for Donald and Goofy, really. Even though I am pretty much sticking with the base equipment for the, you know, the sake of continuity and, I guess, what sensibly defines, you know, how you see the characters on the front of the box art and whatever else. Whatever, I'm just kinda weird like that. It's part of the same reason why I'm not investing in the whole gummy ship sort of thing, which you can customize and, yeah, fuck around with for, you know, additional perks as well as cosmetic stuff, but again, that's just something I've always explained in the past. Now comes a bit of an optional odd duck, really, because, again, you might be wondering where the hell we're going. Well, aside from taking a trip into Jimi Hendrix's acid tank, hippie, bong, smoke, whatever the fuck, yeah, this is Monstro, a character that you can actually... I don't really know what the deal is with him. Like, I think you can actually encounter him early on in the game, or he just sort of tends to pop up whenever he wants, or shows up after a certain point. It's kind of weird, but basically Monstro will just sort of show up, the characters go, whoa, look at that giant space whale, oh shit, he's gonna eat us, oh no. Which I guess implies the events of Pinochcio have already taken place, kind of, sort of, not really. Like, they never touch on the story again, and like, the closest we get to something related to that is like, Dream Drop Distance, but even then that's kind of a weird tangent. Excuse me. I have no idea, but now let's take a look at the salad days, when Sora and Riku were budding friends, yet to acknowledge these icky feelings inside of them. Riku, I heard my mommy talking about gays. Riku, does that make me gay for you? Sora, ew. You've been hanging out with those girls too often, and I better stop this before somebody takes offense to my remarks. But yeah, on a serious note, this is pretty much just, well, the days before Sora and Riku encountered Kairi, so, and this is pretty much just showing off what they did in the days before. Sora's dad used to take him off down to the island, they used to play around on the place, explore, basically just do all the fun shit that kids did back in the day, man, and, well, again, you can see how inseparable these two are, and, well, I mean, again, at the risk of, bitching again at Birth by Sleep, they actually do show up again in that game as, you know, the children that you're seeing right here. But, yeah, scenes like this are kind of important, and, well, I don't know, it does a lot to really flesh out their friendship, and, again, I can't help but respect that, especially with the additional details, like, again, you'll notice they're in the secret place, no cave paintings, nothing else, they find the door, wonder where the hell it leads, and again, they pretty much just say, yeah, fuck it, let's go off and play on the island, because, well, we're kids and we have very short attention spans, but it's also here where Riku wants to, you know, he gets a bit of curiosity to go off the island and have adventures of his own. Again, rather than having very contrived setups and payoffs and Birth by Sleep that make me fucking mad! Yeah, but on a serious note, I really do love this scene, and again, we get a hint about Kairi. Very interesting.
Hey, Sora! Are you okay?
What are you guys doing? Where are we anyway? Whoa!
Oh, you know, I think that big old whale Monstro just swallowed us. And for today's weather, expect showers. Oh, heavy showers.
Hey! Who's there? It's me! Oh, it's just Pinochcio! Pinochcio!
Pinochcio? Pinoc, where you going? Pinoc! Come on, everybody, after him, quick!
And yes, this is pretty much one inclusion of Pinochcio world inside a belly of a whale. And, yeah, I've got a lot of negative things to say about this level, but I mean, in the meantime, it's just sort of cutscenes galore. Again, I've never seen the movie, I've never even read the original tale, although I do have a few things to say about it, because it is quite dark, and, well, from what I read up for the movie in terms of trivia and stuff that I'm gonna pretty much be relaying towards you, yeah, pretty interesting content in relation to Pinochcio, but stay tuned.
With this, we can get out of here, Father!
Really? With this big block? You think so?
It's true. So, how did you end up here, Pinochcio?
Oh my, so the whale swallowed all of you too? My goodness!
Yeah, looks like it.
My name is Geppetto. I'm Pinochcio's father. When we got separated, I traveled all over looking for him. Thank goodness we're together again. So, you seem to know Pinochcio quite well. I hope he was a good boy in my absence. Well, we've all had quite a journey, right, Pinochcio? Pinochcio!
Oh, Pinochcio! I knew I should have given you over to the clansmen when I had the chance! And, well, while that might have been the wrong reference to point out, I do have a bit of trivia to point out, at least in regards to the 1950s Pinochcio movie. The voice actor of Geppetto, I have no idea if he's probably isn't the same one that they got for Kingdom Hearts, because, when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, a lot of the older voice actors who are, you know, in Disney, again, if they're dead, then they're probably reprised by, actors like Jeff Bennett or something. You know, one of the sorts of people who can do, like, a variety of voices, like Corey Burton. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to say. Something that I learned recently about Geppetto's voice actor from the original Pinochcio film. He was actually a Nazi sympathizer. Not even kidding. That's, well, that was, fun trivia, wasn't it, kiddies? Well, not really, it's dark and depressing, but... yeah, especially back in those days, well, actually no, not really, even before that point, it's, You know, I'm just gonna drop the subject like a rock. Let's get to the characters.
What are you doing? Come on, let's go back.
You know, Geppetto's awfully worried about you.
Pinochcio, stop fooling around. This is no time for games.
But Sora, I thought you liked games. Or are you too cool to play them now that you have the Keyblade?
Riku? What are you doing here?
Just playing with Pinochcio.
You know what I mean. What about Kairi? Did you find her?
Maybe. Catch us, and maybe I'll tell you what I know.
Oh, come on!
You know, my sympathies do still lie with Riku, and again, I can understand why he's behaving like such a, well, kid, considering the fact that, again, even though he is, I believe he's like 14, 15 around this point, again, he's still hormonal, he's still developing into a young man, so, like, I mean, I can understand why he's being a bit of a petty bitch. But at the same time, though, this is also around about the point where you really have to start opening your eyes, and, like, I mean, even though previous cutscenes have established that he doesn't exactly trust Maleficent or anything else that he's doing, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way, really. Like, I mean, it's just so petty, man. I mean, I get it, but I don't like it. But at the same time, though, like, I mean, it doesn't quite piss me off to the same extent of, what later games, particularly Birth by Sleep, would go to in terms of characters really not knowing how to interact, because, I mean, considering Sora and Riku's dynamic of, you know, both characters pushing each other, you know, the whole sort of rivalry, intertwined with a friendship that's slowly being broken apart by manipulation and all that kind of stuff. Again, I get it, and it feels natural given who these characters are, Sora slowly maturing up and learning to take responsibility, while Riku in and of himself is slowly being dragged into his own personal darkness and hatred, and again, succumbing to his emotions a little bit more. But again, these are hard-learned life lessons that, again, both characters will learn from, grow from, and eventually, you know, turn out to be some pretty sick characters by Kingdom Hearts 2, so again, it's good development in my eyes, if slightly petty, but again, I guess you need a bit of pettiness so that you can grow, wise up, and become a wise kung fu master. But again, that's enough todgering about in regards to story content. Now let's get into the real meat and potatoes as to why this level sucks. Excuse me. Yeah, there's a bit of a reason why there was a bit of an inconsistency between parts, because I recently caught a cold, and I'm still kind of recovering from that. So, yeah. Anyway, the reason as to why this level sucks is, well, a few reasons. First of which, it's labyrinthian, but not the way that you might expect. As you can see over here, it's very vertically oriented. You need to enter through the whale's ventricles, or I have no idea what the fuck these things even are, like air holes, veins, blood vessels. I don't know whale biology. Well, there is one thing I do know about whale biology, is that apparently, yeah, the insides of a whale can actually look like this, or at least something similar to this. I mean, I can't quite remember the chemical processes that get it to look, you know, very spotty and colourful, but yeah, it can happen to a whale's inside, so yeah. But again, like, I mean, putting aside its labyrinthian design, I guess you could say that this place is also a good place to grind, but I don't know, the fact that they infest so many of these places with Heartless and enemies to fight, it makes it very tedious and a bit of a slog to go through. Especially when you happen to get knocked off, you have to find your way through the ventricles and, again, make your way all the way back to where you need to go. And again, remember what I said before, you know, you go one screen, then 2 screens back, and then enemies respawn. Again, it's tedious, and I don't think the experience drops are really make it justified enough to really support anything, because again, you're pretty much just fighting the same enemies you've seen before. The only difference that you're going to be finding here is the search ghosts, which are pretty much more relevant towards Halloween Town more than they would have been for Monstro, so what the fuck, really? Ooh, White Trinity. So yeah, that means we're basically going to have to go back here when the time is right. What you want to be doing here, and again something I did cut down significantly, well, somewhat, is pretty much where you need to go. Again, you're pretty much looking for Chamber 4, that's where you need to go so you can get to the main sort of boss fight against Riku, or not against Riku, but with basically where you find Riku and Pinochcio have decided to play a game of hide-and-seek with a game of disappearing wood boys. And I suppose with that transition I might as well waffle on about Pinochcio. La Adventures di Pinochcio, I think is the Italian title for it. One of the most famous Italian fairy tales, I might say. But again, as you'd imagine, there were probably a lot of differences from script to screen, because it was... I'd say it still does carry around the same sort of morality tale of, you know, be a good kid, don't fuck up, or, you know, you'll turn into a donkey or some shit, like a fat poker. If you turn into a donkey when I kiss them. I have no idea what the fuck I was doing there. But yeah, basically... Again, in the original fables, from what I've recall reading, is actually that Pinocchio was a lot more of a jerk, which they toned down in the movie adaptation for obvious reasons. And, well, in Chapter 15, I believe, or at least one of the original drafts, Pinocchio was initially meant to die because he got hanged for being a bad kid. And, like, I mean, it does kind of put a whole twist on, you know, becoming a real boy, and, of course, suffering as real boys do by getting strangled to death. Which is something that he didn't really have to deal with, because I believe, one of the earlier chapters actually had him, like, he ran away from home, and then, like, lay down next to the fire, and because of the fact that he was made of wood and therefore had no nerve endings to feel pain with, he couldn't feel his feet being burned off and thus getting repaired or whatever. I don't know. It's weird as hell, man, but... Then again, I suppose that's kind of what the fucked up nature of these very grim tales are supposed to invoke. Don't be bad, otherwise abstractification of evil stuff is abound. Then again, even the Disney movie itself is actually kind of frightening. Again, I haven't seen it for myself, but from what I've read up, deals with if not undertones, and at the very least the implication of, like, child slavery and extortion and stuff like that, which, it's very no bueno. Then again, like, I don't know, man, I guess maybe different standards, different time of what we would tolerate for 1950s compared to what we'd see nowadays, so, who knows, really. Then again, I really don't have much to say about it. I suppose it's a good morality tale to tell your kids to buck up and not, you know, be a little shit, otherwise you'll die, I guess. This is pretty much the main area that you want to get to. Again, Chamber 4 is pretty much located right around here, but again, gotta show off most of the level, and it is, honest to God, really fucking tedious, man. Also, apparently Monstro was apparently capable of eating entire ships, which I guess was probably meant to derive its inspiration from the likes of Moby Dick and the works of Herman Melville, but yeah, I think it would have... Well, Dream Drop Distance does kind of go into that a little bit more when you have to fight Monstro both inside and out, and the fact that he's pretty much just sort of wandering the ocean, but... And I guess even sort of the fact that he swallowed the gummy ship does also touch on that fact, but I don't know, I think it was a real... sort of like Jaws kind of thing you could have done with it, by maybe having like a gummy ship battle with Monstro. He swallows the ship and then you have to fight your way out. By like slashing at his organs or something. I mean, maybe that probably would have been a bit too gory for Kingdom Hearts standards and probably ape a little bit too much on the Devil May Cry kind of thing. You know, with the living cave right at the end of the first game, or even the very similar whale in Devil May Cry 3, so... I don't know, I can't say for certain, but I just think it would have been a lot cooler than this. And again, like, the labyrinthian design would have been fine if there was interesting things to see and do, but apart from treasure chests, which give you drops that you could honestly get a lot better anywhere else in the game, it's just a bit uninteresting, and the fact that the aesthetics are pretty much all just this coloured spot, fucking Jackson Pollock wet dream shit right here, again, you got nothing, man. You got nothing, and the fact that you can easily fall off, have to go back 2 screens, and then fight more enemies again, tedium incarnate. If it sounds like I'm repeating myself, I do apologize, but there really is nothing to say. And, again, I thought I would have had more to say on Pinochcio, but I really don't. Well, I mean, I guess apart from the fact that there is a lot of storytelling potential to be wrung out of the whole I wanna be a human kind of thing, when you're, like, some sort of puppet robot kind of thing. Because, I mean, this sort of storytelling device is used a lot with, like, you know, the monster who wants to be human, or the robot who longs to feel emotions, or whatever else, so I guess that maybe might also provide a little spark, even if unintentionally from its original tale, as to the influence Pinochcio has had on literary storytelling stuff, you know, for years to come. I mean, I don't know, it really is fascinating to see how literature inspires things eons on down the line in ways that you couldn't even expect. Which does make me wonder that in our current futuristic realm of, you know, stories, comic books, and everything else, like, is this eventually going to be considered you know, stuff that would eventually pass on to the next generation, you know, when our civilization fades away and the fat donkeys eventually come across our stories of, like, stuff or whatever. Will Kingdom Hearts be considered, like, ancient mythological fables that the next generation of humanity ends up taking influence from? Who knows? Will Sora be immortalized as he fights against the Fat Porker of the Heartless? I have no idea. You see, we got the Thundaka G, and we got the Mega Ether, which actually does come in handy, and Blue Trinity. Yeah, I don't like this level, and fuck it, I want to spend as little time here as possible. If we already had the White Trinity, I would have gotten that one as well, but fuck. I think the only other time apart from Trinity hunting that you're going to be seeing this place is when we get to the special secret enemy surprise. But again, that won't be until way later, dude. And this is where the jump cutting begins. Just enter into here, we'll come back out, and then we'll enter Chamber 4, which is, again, this is the area you want to get to, right where these little steps are, and enter Chamber 4, and you should be good.
Why do you still care about that boy? He has all but deserted you for the Keyblade and his new companions, after all.
I don't care about him. I was just messing with him a little.
Oh, really? Of course you were. Beware the darkness in your heart. The heartless prey upon it.
Mind your own business.
You see, even Maleficent knows that Sora is Riku's budding boyfriend that will make him turn to darkness. It's all a matter of time.
Riku! What's the matter with you? What are you thinking? Don't you realize what you're doing?
I was about to ask you the same thing, Sora. You only seem interested in running around and showing off that Keyblade these days. Do you even want to save Kairi?
I do.